Hello viewers and welcome back to Buckmore Park here for round 3 of the Elite Karting Series 2024 season. Split 3 race 1 was very entertaining, and I'm sure the split 2 drivers, who are technically speaking just one above, are going to provide us just as good entertainment around this very historic racetrack. Now we can head down to the grid to see how qualifying took place. Luke Battersby talking you through it.
Here we are then riding on board with Chris Bowers for the one-shot qualifying here in Split 2. It's the first time we've ever cut off with the one-shot qualifying here in the EKS. So coming to the end of the warm-up then to start his one-shot quali lap is Chris Bowers. You can see Callum Bendelow right in front. So they're coming up to Conways. You want to be given a very slight dab of the brakes as you head in to turn 1, then keep it tight through Henry's Bend as you now head down now to hairpin 1. You've got post 2 on the left as your reference point for hairpin 1. You want to back it in hard on the brakes, then get back over to the right hand side of the track for hairpin 2. Very tricky corner, especially with the new tarmac, quite a late apex. You want to be taking through hairpin 2, now heading down through the S's. You want to be taking the line of least resistance, just keep it as straight as possible through the S's as you head down now through Science Street, using the new tarmac to get over to the right hand side for Pullman's borderline flat out corner, now coming into paddock, very tricky corner, going to brake earlier than you think you should. Now heading up to Garda, very slight dab of the brakes as you just tip it in to Garda. Don't use too much curb on the inside because it's very steep and will assess you. Ride the bumps going through Carsham corner, now heading up Herbert's Rise through Cafe Urban up the Cicely Straight. That takes you for a lap of Buckmore Park as they come across the line now. Callum Bendelow provisionally goes fast with a 49.9, then Chris Bowers is sent a 48.8. Got the rest of the carts now coming up to the start finish line. Who is going to go where? Jack Legg sets a 50.2, Ellis Beattie 50.6, Ollie Welton 50.9, Jack Legg, Luke Nick shut up to do a 50.4. Now Eliot Tuesley, he goes third fastest with a 50.0 as we see the carts streaming across the finish line. Mark Smith, he's gone and set a 50.6, he's the only heavyweight driver in this qualifying. Chris Phillips, he's up to 4th place with a 50.1, and Louis Draper, he set a 50.12. So we see the final drivers coming across to the finish line. It looks like the grid for race 1 is going to be Chris Bowers, one of the first drivers to finish his lap in this one-shot qualifying. He is on pole position for this race, starting alongside Callum Bendelow on the front row of the grid. We've then got Eliot Tuesley up in 3rd place. He's not used to driving around Buckmore, so it's a great qualifying session by Eliot Tuesley. Chris Phillips all the way up in 4th on his first ever visit to Buckmore Park. We've then got Louis Draper, also not familiar with Buckmore, in 5th place alongside Jack Legg. We've then got Luke Nick in 7th place. He is on the 4th row of the grid alongside our debutant Ellis Beattie. We've then got Jules Larkin starting in 9th place, again a debutant in the series today, alongside Mike Smith, who has been racing here at Buckmore Park for 53 years, since he was a kid in 1971. Then we've got Alfie Shrub starting in 11th place alongside Adnan Perez. We've got Owen Cameron then in 13th place. We've got Ollie Cooper-Wilson, who were on board with briefly in that qualifying session. He set 50.9 to go 14th on the grid. We've then got George Braun starting alongside Will Roberts in 15th and 16th place, with Archie Bradley and Ethan Daisy making up the final row of the grid.
Shortly going to get going then here for race 2 of the day. Split 2, race 1, and we have the lights. Chris Bowers on pole position. Let's get ready to get racing. There is the shouts, and when the lights go out, we will be racing. Lights out and away we go. Good start for Chris, who gets clear into turn 1 ahead of Callum Bendelow. Luke and Nick losing a position off the start of this race. Meanwhile, George Braun trying to make up a couple of spots into turn 1, loses out to the number 10 card at the hands of William Roberts down into turn 1. Will now going down the inside of Ollie Cooper-Welton and able to find a way through. George Braun keeping an eye on this battle as they're too wide briefly down into the left-hander of hairpin 1. Archie Pratley loses a position to George Braun and a second position as well to the number 17 card driven by Ethan Dozy, who does very well actually off the start of this race in his EKS debut. The rest of the field streaming on through. Callum Bendelow, as you can see on our drone shot in the bottom of our picture, trying to make his way through into the lead of the race, but can't quite do so ahead of Chris Bowers. Chris holding on at the moment, but Luke, they've pulled out a mighty gap.
Yeah, great start there by Chris Bowers and Callum Bendelow. These two both familiar with this circuit, been here plenty of times over the course of their life, and they've already pulled a gap on the pack behind us. We see a cart going up the inside in turn 1. I believe that's Eliot Tuesley on the inside of Chris Phillips as they head into Conways, now heading down to hairpin 1. They are 3 abreast. I believe that is Eliot, who's out at the front of this pack now, ahead of Louis Draper. We've got Ellis Beattie as well. I think he's now up into 4th place. So they go side by side through hairpin 2 here. The distance here looking from this drone footage above the clubhouse, now heading through the Essex. You can see him from the static shot. It looks like it is Louis Draper now. He's managed to make his way up ahead of the cut behind. So they've now got Chris Bowers ahead of Callum Bendelow. You've got Chris Phillips ahead of Eliot, and you've got Louis Draper ahead of, I believe that is Adrian Perez was Jack Lane, I think it is. They now make their way through Ghana.
Yeah, George Braun briefly got past the number 10 carts of William Roberts, but by the looks of things now, he's fallen back behind Ollie Cooper-Welton as well. George Braun right on the tail of that number 12 cart, Archie Pratley. I can also see him having a bit of a battle. That is with Ethan Vincent Dozy. I'm afraid to say it is for 18th position. Go on, Luke.
Callum Bendelow just made a move there in tape 1. You just saw from the Joe shot, going into hairpin 1. That was a great move by Callum Bendelow, but Chris Bowers got the undercut on him coming out of the first hairpin. So Chris Bowers back into the lead of the race, but Callum Bendelow, he is trying to get into the lead here. Remember, it's promotion at stake here into split 1 in this race. So these two, they are trying to take victory off one another as they now head their way down through the bottom of the field. Like I say, it is Eliot Tuesley now who's managed to break away from the pack behind in P3.
Yeah, well, a good attempt by Callum Bendelow, but not quite able to find a way through. Meanwhile, Archie Pratley, by the looks of things, wasn't able to gain that position. He does fall behind, so he did get in a position actually when they crossed the timing line to confirm that into 17th position. So, lead of the race held by Chris Bowers ahead of Callum Bendelow. Fastest lap of the race, though, has actually gone to Eliot Tuesley in 3rd position. He's got into the 49s, only driver into the 49s at the moment, and he's got a bit of clean air to try and catch up to our leaders as Callum Bendelow continues to try and look at Chris Bowers. They make their way now down into the bottom of the circuit, and well, Callum should be looking for that moment anytime he can find it. George Braun still battling with Ollie Cooper-Welton, but not able to find a way through. He's shown his nose multiple opportunities over the course of this lap. However, for the time being, Ollie Cooper-Welton is able to stay where he is. It will take something mighty for George Braun to try and find his way through. Luke and Nick is now involved in a battle with Adrian Perez.
He is indeed, as he now makes his way up through Cafe Curve, up the 60 straight across the start finish line. Luke and Nick on the back of Adrian Perez as they go into turn 1. Luke, though, not able to go for the move there. He's making a bit of contact there actually at the apex of turn 1, but he allows Adrian to stay ahead. So these two, they are now racing for 9th position. Adrian is a very experienced car to be racing for many years and races nowadays in things. Oh, there's Mike Smith. That's a spinner there. That's Mike Smith. Just as we were saying that, go through hairpin 2. I think you can see actually in the front of the shot, I think Mike Smith went for a move on Jack Led into hairpin 2. Just got it a little bit wrong. Took a bit too much curb on the inside and he lost the back end. So Mike Smith now, he has tumbled down the order. Mike Smith, a very experienced driver in his own right, and he's a heavyweight too. Doing very well. Usually does very well here at Buckmore, but unfortunately a bit of a spin that has cost him dearly. But let's just say Luke Nick battling with Adrian. Adrian, like I say, experienced car to races in the Southern Rental Car Championship. Luke Nick himself is a champion at Sandown Park in their Sony car, so Lucas certainly knows how to drive a Sony car, and they are now battling out for 8th and 9th.
Chris Bowers overtaken for the lead by Callum Bendelow into hairpin 1 and into hairpin 2. Callum Bendelow happy to take that position, so Callum Bendelow into the lead of the race. And the topic of Mike Smith, you say his experience, 1971 he first raced here at Buckmore Park. So that's 53 years, if my maths off the top of my head are correct, that he's had experience racing around here. Meanwhile then, Chris Bowers, slightly less experience, but definitely all the pace to show for it, trying to get himself past Callum Bendelow once again. He's all over the back of that number 3 car as they make their way through the final couple of corners here, down the straights into Conways for what actually will be the 6th time in this race. Chris to the outside line. Callum has him covered for the time being and continues to have him covered. Chris with that wider line into hairpin 1 will try and catch up just a little bit, but not able to find a way through just yet. We're approaching half distance in this race. This is an exciting battle for the lead.
Chris and Callum, like I say, both experienced around here. Callum actually raced in our normal event here back in 2022, and he was the first person to ever win a race. He won our first ever race in the EKS race 1 of the inaugural event. Chris is also a very experienced driver as we're just running aboard now with George Braun. That was a good battle there with Ollie Cooper-Welton. These two side by side both got onboard cameras as they make their way through the S's. Chris Bowes, meanwhile, he's going for the move, going to Ghana, going into lap 7 of this race. Chris Bowes up the inside, and he is now back into the lead. So Chris Bowes back into the lead of the race with Callum Bendelow in 2nd place. These two miles ahead of Eliot Tuesley now in 3rd. But great move that was as Chris going defensive into top end. He's going to go defensive again. It's the head one. He's got Callum Bendelow on his inside now. So Callum Bendelow got the undercut, then go through top end. And Callum Bendelow, he's back into the lead of the race. Good move then into hairpin 1. So Callum Bendelow, he leads, goes defensive into hairpin 2. Manages to hold off to Chris. Can he get the run out of hairpin 2? No, he can't. Very difficult to overtake out of hairpin 2. So Callum Bendelow, he is back into P1.
But for how long Chris Bowers trying to get back at him as they make their way through the S's. Callum going to have to go defensive once again. Chris all over the back of the driver who hasn't won an EKS race in the main series forever. That inaugural event being his only race win ever, and obviously promotion here to split one will put him into opportunity to maybe get himself that elusive race win. Chris then in the background trying to make his way through, but can't quite do so yet.
Just saw as well in the top right hand corner, Luke Nicky's got a big pack of carts right in front of him as Chris Bowers has got the run on Callum Bendelow, then going through Henry's Bay, and can he make this stick into head when he can, so he completes the move there. I was just saying in the top right hand corner, you can see right now Luke Nick, he's battling out with Jules Larkin, Adrian Perez and Alfie Shrub in a battle for 7th place.
They are, and Luca very, very busy in this race then. The number 11 of Jules Larkin just getting ahead of him, meanwhile keeping an eye on Chris Bowers, who's still in the lead of the race, and actually staying pretty comfortable for the time being. Luca then watching this battle as down the inside of Adrian Perez they go, and Luca watches this unfold with Jules Larkin getting himself through. Now Adrian trying to get back to the inside line, and he's going to be squeezed all the way to the inside as his daddy trying to get past. It's the number 16 cart being driven by Alfie Shrub and able to find his way through. A fantastic move from Jules Larkin up into that 7th position at the moment, and really good value for his efforts as well, as now Luca Nick on the outside of Adrian Perez can't quite make his way through into the 2nd corner, and now under even more pressure here Luca Nick, he might lose a position.
And just as they go through the S's now, you can see Callum Bendelow, he's been overtaken by both Eliot, Tuesley and Louis Draper. So they were just shooting through shot there, now coming into view on the drone down the bottom half of the track. Looks like Callum Bendelow has managed to get back ahead of Louis Draper, but he has been overtaken by Eliot Tuesley. So whilst we weren't looking, Eliot Tuesley managed to reel in the front two whilst they were battling, and he has managed to capitalise and get past Callum Bendelow. You can see in the bottom of the shot as well, you can see that is a move there for 5th place. That is Jack Led, I believe, up the inside of LSBC, 2 juniors drivers battling with each other. Jules Larkin meanwhile has managed to get ahead of Alfie Shrub, so Jules now up into 7th place with Adrian Perez behind us, and now go back out of shot. But great battling here both for the lead of the race and in the battle for 7th place.
So it's Chris Bowers leading ahead of Eliot Tuesley and Callum Bendelow. Callum being the fastest man in this race at the moment. There's only 0.2 of a second at the lead of the race, so not a lot in it at all at the moment. Luca Nick has that battle just ahead of him. George Braun under pressure and overtaken by Ollie Cooper-Welton. We're back on the outside into hairpin 2. Looks to cross the lines over, but Ollie Cooper-Welton has him covered. He's bouncing forward, trying to make his way through. And well, Ollie has done plenty of kart racing. He knows exactly where to place his kart around here. George looking to the outside line, can't quite find a way through it. Now into Garda they go. On the inside goes George Braun, can't quite get that overlap, can't quite get through. 2 minutes 30 to go in this race. We're into the closing stages now, and George back on the outside line as they make their way up through Cafe Curve, and George still can't quite find that way through. Ollie Cooper-Welton just a little bit faster in a straight line.
He is, yeah, and Ollie Cooper-Welton, like you say, very experienced kart team. He's a champion at Sandown Park in their D-Max karts and in their Sonic karts. Also races out in America in some owner driver karts and gearbox karts. So he's a very experienced driver, as Geordie's looking all over the back of him here. Just decides not to go for the move there. Integrity probably was close enough, but chose against going for it. As you can see now, these top 4 karts, as they go down the bottom half of the track, see them coming through shot. Looks like Callum Bendelow has been overtaken now by Louis Draper, who is now up into 3rd place in the race, whilst Jules Larkin is meanwhile battling with Adrian Perez, and now Alfie Shrub at the inside of Adrian Perez going into Garda. Looks like Alfie Shrub has managed to get back up now into 8th place ahead of Adrian. You can see this pack, they are so close to one another after more than 10 minutes of racing. So many karts still glued to each other. It goes to show how well the split system is working here today in the EKS. These races are ultra competitive, as now Chris Bowers is just about holding on to his leaders. They head through the S's ahead of Eliot Tuesley, Louis Draper and Callum Bendelow.
Very entertaining racing, and so far I don't suspect it will be into the final lap this time by. It will be close, but it will be the penultimate lap this time by, I would expect, with Chris Bowers doing a good job in the lead of the race. But Eliot Tuesley will take any opportunity he can get as they stream past the drone through the final couple of corners. Callum Bendelow trying to make a move up on Louis Draper. I don't think he could quite squeeze his way through. Meanwhile, George Braun still looking to attack Ollie Cooper-Welton. The two of them so close together and staying close together. George back on the outside line, no way through there. It's such a difficult time to get a run as he took into the slipstream, and hope he can get a little bit of slipstream here down into turn 1 once again. Ollie going ever so slightly defensive, back to the outside of the circuit through turn 1. George carrying that little bit more speed, but not able to commit to move down into the hairpin. It would be far too audacious, I think, to go there. Looks the overlap into hairpin 2, gets the overlap, is on the outside line. However, it will be difficult to get through, gets the apex first and gets past Ollie Cooper-Welton as we head into the final lap of the race, Luke.
Yeah, going into Garda, you can see in the top of shot, Eliot Tuesley going defensive there against Louis Draper and Callum Bendelow. So Eliot trying his hardest to hold on to his position here, as we can see the rest of the pack now fighting their way into Garda. You've got a 5-way battle there for, I believe that is 7th place, might be a little bit further than all there actually is. We've now got Ollie Cooper-Welton going defensive against George Braun. George Braun hanging around the outside. What a move that is by George Braun on Ollie Cooper-Welton. Great overtake that was. They make their way up the hill. It's a great battling there between those two who are battling out for 50th place as we do now enter the final lap of the race. You can see the carts fighting their way through the S's. Eliot's just holding on to 2nd place here ahead of Louis Draper with Callum Bendelow in 4th. Jack Led, by the way, has managed to make his way past LSBT, so he's doing well here. As now Louis Draper is going defensive against Callum Bendelow. Callum Bendelow had the inside through Pawns, but outside for Paddock. Now Louis going defensive into Garda. He's holding on to 3rd place here. So as they come up to the line then, it's going to be Chris Bowers who takes the victory and gets promotion to split 1 in turn, and then coming across the line in 2nd place, just about holding on to 2nd in Eliot Tuesley head of Louis Draper. Callum Bendelow in 4th place, and then we've got Jack Led, who actually reeled the bin quite well there. He was flying in that race in 5th place ahead of LSBT.
Well, Chris Bowers taking victory. Battle between George Braun and Ollie Cooper-Welton. Ollie Cooper-Welton just about ahead of George Braun as they make their way up to the line. George not really ever able to find a way through right there. So entertainment inside of split 2. We'll be seeing Chris Bowers once again inside of split 1. It's Chris Bowers who takes victory and wins promotion here then with a 1.3 second victory to Eliot Tuesley, who finishes in 2nd position. Louis Draper and Red Monster Racing's Callum Bendelow make up the rest of your top 4. Jack Led takes a victory for our juniors. LSBT just behind him. Jules Larkin, your top 3 in the juniors. Adrian Perez Soroso is in 8th position for Team 22. Alfred Shrub and William Roberts, the rest of your top 10. XLR8 Kent Breweries Racing's Mike Smith is in 11th position with Open Throttle's Luca Nick in 12th. Owen Camber, Chris Phillips and Ollie Cooper-Welton are the rest of the top 15, with George Braun, Ethan Vince Adozi and Archie Prattley the rest of our order.
Okay, I'm here with Chris Bowers and Eliot Tuesley, the top 2 in that race. That was a great drive there by you, Chris. How did that go for you?
That's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think you all did me a favour at the end by fighting, squabbling amongst yourselves. I looked back at the start of the last lap and went, all right, they've all fallen back a bit, just make my mistakes for the last one. But yeah, it was good fun. Really enjoyed it. Some nice, clean but fair, tough racing. I think particularly with Callum at the start, he sent it a bit into hairpin 1. And I came back at him, so it was all good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
All good. And Eliot, how was it for you? It looked like a great battle through the fields.
It was, yeah. Bad start, lost 2 places, but it's just focusing on trying to close back up. I saw those 2 fighting at the front, so it's my opportunity to close up. Getting there, just get a bit more consistent, and I think we could be up in the front.
Great stuff. Well done, guys. And well done for the promotion, Chris.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.